I woke up hooked to machines, chest still aching from the cardiac event that almost killed me. My phone buzzed, tagged in a family photo. They were at the lake, smiling wide, my sister's caption glowing beneath. Family day without the drama. I was the drama. 4 days in ICU, 79 missed calls later, and Dad's text finally came. We need you. Not how are you? Not we're sorry. Just need. That's when I canceled every automatic payment I'd been making for 8 years and watched their whole world collapse. The nurse had just removed my breathing tube that morning, and my throat still felt raw like I'd swallowed glass. The monitor beside me beeped in rhythm with something fragile inside my chest, and I kept staring at that photo. Mama holding her deviled eggs like she was posing for Southern living. Daddy with a beer in hand, grinning wider than I'd seen in years. Rochelle, my younger sister, throwing up peace signs in her designer sunglasses, and Kendall sitting pretty in a sundress I'd probably paid for. They looked happy, relieved even, like the weight they'd been carrying me had finally been lifted. I zoomed in on their faces, searching for guilt, for worry, for anything that looked like they missed me. Nothing. Just pure unbothered joy. The location tag read Fontainebleau State Park, and the timestamp showed it was posted the same afternoon the doctors told me I was lucky to be alive. My fingers hovered over the comment section, but what could I even say that wouldn't sound pathetic? That's when I noticed the other notifications. Rochelle had posted a story earlier. Finally getting the family time we needed. Sometimes you have to leave the toxic energy behind to truly heal. I was the toxic energy. 8 years of covering Daddy's unemployment since the oil refinery closed. 8 years of paying Mama's insulin and blood pressure medication because their insurance lapsed. 8 years of funding Rochelle's lifestyle brand failures. The waist trainers, the lash line, the podcast nobody listened to. 8 years of Kendall's Dillard University tuition, and her apartment in Gentilly that I co-signed for. And somehow I was the problem. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Daddy. Where are you? We've been calling. The mortgage company sent another notice. Call me ASAP. Not once did he ask if I was okay. Not once did any of them wonder why I hadn't answered in 4 days. The choice formed in my mind slowly, like storm clouds gathering over Lake Pontchartrain. I could call them back, explain what happened, and watch them apologize with just enough tears to make me feel guilty for ever doubting their love. Then I'd wire the money like I always did, and we'd pretend this never happened. Or I could finally stop. My chest tightened and the monitor spiked. A nurse poked her head in, concern creasing her forehead. You all right, baby? She asked, her accent thick as rue. Yeah, I whispered, though we both knew it was a lie. She adjusted my fore and gave me that look. The one that said she'd seen this movie before and knew how it ended. After she left, I opened my banking app with shaking hands. The list of automatic transfers read like a bill of sale. Rochelle's rent, Kendall's utilities, Mama's car insurance, Daddy's mortgage payment. Every month, like clockwork, my paycheck hemorrhaged into their lives while I lived in a cramped studio in mid-city with furniture from Facebook Marketplace. I pressed cancel on the first one, then the second, then the third. Each click felt like pulling a knife out of my own back. By the time I finished, my hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady. That's when the second text came through, this time from Rochelle. Simone, Daddy said you're ignoring him. That's real childish. We're family. Act like it. I stared at those words until they blurred. Then I did something I'd never done before. I turned off my phone. The hospital discharged me 3 days later with a list of medications I couldn't pronounce and instructions to avoid stress. The irony wasn't lost on me. I took a lift back to my apartment because nobody offered to pick me up, and when I unlocked my door, the silence felt different. Heavier. Like the walls knew what I'd done. I'd kept my phone off the entire time, and when I finally powered it back on, it vibrated for a full 2 minutes straight. Texts, missed calls, voicemails, all of them frantic, angry, confused. Mama's voice on the voicemail was sugar-sweet with poison underneath. Simone, baby, I don't know what's going on with you, but your daddy's real worried about the house payment. Call us when you get a chance, okay? Love you. No mention of my health. No, we heard you were in the hospital. Just worry about money. Rochelle's texts were less subtle. You really gonna let Daddy lose the house? After everything they did for you? You're being selfish. Kendall tried the soft approach. Hey sis, I'm not like them. I know you're going through something. Just talk to me. Please don't punish me for their mistakes. The same line she used when I co-signed her lease and she was 4 months late on rent. I sat on my couch, still in the clothes I'd worn home from the hospital, and felt the guilt creeping in like floodwater. Maybe I was being selfish. Maybe I should have told them I was in the hospital. Maybe this was all a misunderstanding. My finger hovered over Daddy's contact, ready to call and fix everything like I always did. Then my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw Uncle Jerome standing there in his old Tulane windbreaker, holding a folder thick enough to be a manuscript. Uncle Jerome was Daddy's older brother, a retired CPA who lived in a shotgun house in the 7th Ward and minded his business until he couldn't anymore. I opened the door, and he walked in without waiting for an invitation. "You look terrible," he said, setting the folder on my coffee table. "Thanks, Uncle Jay." "I heard," he said, sitting down heavily. "Heard what?" I asked, though I already knew. "That you finally stopped being their ATM." He opened the folder and I saw printouts, bank statements, loan applications, credit reports. "I've been watching this for 8 years, Simone. Watched them bleed you dry and convince you it was love. I kept my mouth shut because I thought you'd figure it out on your own. But when I heard you had a heart attack and they went to the lake instead of the hospital, I knew I had to step in." My vision blurred. "How did you?" "Your cousin Tasha works at Oxnard. She called me when nobody came to see you." He pushed the papers toward me. "Look at this." I didn't want to, but I did. The first document was a loan application in my name for $23,000, taken out 4 years ago. I'd never seen it before. That paid for Rochelle's pop-up shop in the French Quarter that closed after 5 months, Uncle Jerome said. The next one was a credit card with a $14,000 balance. Kendall's study abroad trip to Paris, she posted all over Instagram. Then another, and another. By the time I reached the bottom of the stack, my hands were shaking again. "They used your credit to fund their entire lives," Uncle Jerome said quietly. "And when that wasn't enough, they just asked you directly." "But how?" "You gave your mama your social security number for insurance purposes 8 years ago, remember? She's had access ever since." The room tilted. I remembered that conversation, Mama saying she needed it to add me to their health insurance plan as a dependent. I was 26 and believed her. "There's more," Uncle Jerome said, and his voice dropped. He pulled out another set of papers, and these looked official, court documents. "What is this?" I asked, but my stomach already knew. "Emergency petition for temporary conservatorship," he read aloud. "Filed by Robert and Diane Baptiste, claiming their daughter Simone Baptiste is mentally unfit to manage her finances due to erratic behavior and psychological instability." The words hit me like a second heart attack. They tried to take legal control of everything: your bank accounts, your retirement fund from the nonprofit, your apartment. If this had gone through, they would have owned you. "When?" I whispered. 5 days ago. While you were unconscious." I couldn't breathe. They didn't just ignore me dying. They saw it as an opportunity. Uncle Jerome made me chicory coffee the way his mama used to, strong enough to wake the dead. And we sat at my tiny kitchen table while the sun set over the city. "Why didn't it go through?" I finally asked. "Because I've been your emergency contact at the hospital since you moved back to New Orleans," he said. "The court tried to reach me for a statement, and I shut it down fast. Got my lawyer involved, Mr. Thibodeau, you remember him from church. We filed counter documents proving you were medically stable and had been financially supporting them, not the other way around. Judge threw their petition out before it even got a hearing. Relief flooded through me, but it was cold. They really tried to do this. They really did." My phone buzzed again. Another text from Daddy. "Simone, this is serious. Call me now. Everything is falling apart." Uncle Jerome glanced at it. "What are you going to do?" I thought about it for a long moment. Then I opened my messages and typed, "I know about the conservatorship. I know about the loans. I know about everything. Don't contact me again." I hit send before I could change my mind. The response came within 30 seconds. "Daddy, I don't know what lies Jerome been telling you, but you need to calm down and think clearly." Then Mama, "Baby, you're not thinking straight. This is the stress talking. Come home so we can talk face to face. Then Rochelle, and her message was pure venom. You really gonna believe that bitter old man over your own blood? You're pathetic. We should have never helped you in the first place. That last one almost made me laugh. Helped me. I'm filing a fraud report, I said to Uncle Jerome. Good, he said. Mr. Thibodeau already drafted a cease and desist. We can file everything Monday morning. That night, Rochelle went live on Instagram. I didn't watch it, but Uncle Jerome did, and he called me at midnight. You need to see this, he said. The video was still up. Rochelle sat in front of a ring light, her face streaked with mascara, looking directly into the camera with wet, desperate eyes. Mental illness doesn't always look like what you expect, she said, her voice breaking. Sometimes the people you love push you away when they need help the most. My sister Simone is going through something really dark right now, and she's shutting all of us out. We're just trying to help her before it's too late. If y'all have ever dealt with a family member struggling with their mental health, you know how hard this is. Please keep her in your prayers. The comments were flooded with sympathy. Praying for your sister. You're so strong for sharing this. Family first always. I watched the whole thing twice, and the anger that filled me was clean and pure. She was trying to control the narrative, trying to make me the villain so when I exposed them, nobody would believe me. But Rochelle made one mistake. She forgot the internet never forgets. By morning, someone had found her old post, the lake photo, and stitched it next to her crying video. The caption read, "So where was all that concern when your sister was in the ICU? Fontainebleau State Park, apparently." The timestamp showed the exact overlap. 4 days in the hospital, and she'd posted Family Day without the drama, with a cocktail emoji. The comments turned brutal. Her follower count started dropping. Brand partnerships pulled out. By noon, she deleted everything and went private. But the damage was done. Uncle Jerome called again. The internet handled that for you. Yeah, I said. Still doesn't fix what they did. No, he agreed. But Monday will. Monday morning came with the kind of New Orleans heat that made the air feel like soup. Uncle Jerome picked me up at 9:30, and we drove to Mr. Thibodeau's office on Magazine Street. The fraud report was filed by 10:15. The cease and desist letters were sent by 11. By noon, I'd formally disputed every loan and credit card in my name that I hadn't personally opened. Mr. Thibodeau explained the process calmly, his voice smooth as bourbon. The investigation will take time, but the evidence is clear. Identity theft, even by family, is still a crime. You won't be held responsible for the debt, and if you choose to press charges, the district attorney will likely pursue it. I don't want them in jail, I said. I just want them out of my life. Then the cease and desist will do that, he said. No contact, no financial claims, no using your name or likeness. If they violate it, we can pursue a restraining order. I signed everything. My hand didn't shake once. That afternoon my phone exploded. Not with texts from them. They'd received the legal papers by courier and had been instructed not to contact me. But from everyone else. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly wanted to check on me. Church members asking if the rumors were true. Even Mama's best friend sent a long message about forgiveness and honoring thy father and mother. I blocked them all. Uncle Jerome took me to Willie Mae's for fried chicken, and we sat in the corner booth while the lunch crowd buzzed around us. How do you feel? He asked. I thought about it, really thought about it. Free, I said. And I meant it. The weight I'd been carrying for 8 years, the guilt, the obligation, the fear that I'd be nothing without them needing me, was gone. I wasn't their savior anymore. I wasn't their tragedy. I was just Simone. 2 months later, I moved to a shotgun double in the Bywater with high ceilings and windows that let in the morning light. I negotiated part-time remote work with the nonprofit, cutting my hours but keeping my benefits. And I started a financial literacy workshop at the community center called You Are Not the Bank. It was for young women who'd been raised to believe that love meant sacrifice, that family meant funding everyone else's dreams while yours collected dust. The first session had 12 women. By the third month we had 53. I never saw my family again. I heard through Uncle Jerome that Daddy lost the house eventually, that they downsized to a rental in Kenner, that Rochelle's influencer career never recovered, That Kendall dropped out of Dillard after one more semester. I didn't feel sorry for them. I didn't feel anything at all. One Saturday morning I sat on my front porch watching a second line parade snake down the street, the brass band playing something joyful and defiant. Uncle Jerome sat beside me with his coffee, and we didn't need to say anything. He'd show me the receipts when I needed them most. He'd stood between me and people who saw me as currency instead of a person. That was family. Real family. My phone buzzed. A message from one of the women in my workshop. I canceled the auto transfer today. My hands are still shaking, but I did it. Thank you. I smiled and typed back. The shaking stops eventually. Then comes the peace. And it was true. Because for the first time in 8 years, I could breathe without machines, sleep without guilt, and live without being anyone's emergency contact except my own. They'd tag me in that photo like I was the problem. Turns out I was the solution. I just had to subtract myself from their equation. If this story hit you where it counts, make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Let's show the world how far this message reaches. Sometimes we carry things in silence, but when we speak up, we give someone else the permission to breathe again. We're here to help each other survive the struggle and come out stronger on the other side. So keep your eyes open, trust your soul, and remember that every small step you take is building your legacy. Keep it real out there.